Are you considering divorce? Are you dealing with it now? Are you on the other side and not sure what comes next? You've come to the right place. Welcome to the Divorce Do's and Don'ts Show with your host, Lisa C. Decker.
Welcome back for another edition of the Divorce Do's and Don'ts Show. I'm Lisa C. Decker, your host, and I am a certified divorce financial analyst, a real estate collaboration specialist in divorce, and a certified amicable divorce professional. I am also the CEO and founder of Divorce Money Matters and Divorce Town USA, the organization that brings you this show. And thank you for joining us today. We are going to have a great show today with a very juicy topic, all about love, folks. We know that February can be especially difficult for those healing from a divorce or other breakup. And many people wonder when and how they should start dating again. How do we get back out there without repeating past mistakes? That's a really important thing. Or getting hurt again, even more so. We are happy to introduce our guest today, Patricia Fuqua, to help us figure that out. And so Patricia is a certified matchmaker with Premier Love Pros. And Patricia, feel free to turn your camera on at any time here. There we go. And there she is with that big, beautiful smile. She is a certified matchmaker with Premier Love Pros, Matchmaker Alliance, and the Global Love Institute. I had never heard of these, but how juicy. And has written 2 books on dating successfully for the divorced woman. One is a best-selling case study of how to meet and date the man of your dreams. And obviously these tips and tactics can work for both sexes. So I hope any of the guys listening in will enjoy this information as well. Since 2008, she has been running successful, soulful dating programs that have supported over 500 divorced women in being their own matchmakers using technology. Recently, she added matchmaking to support those busy divorced women who want to date without using technology. And there's some good reasons for that as well. Welcome to the show today, Patricia. So nice to have you here.
It's my pleasure, Lisa. Great to be
I'm
here.
really excited to talk about this topic because, you know, when you've gone through a divorce or you're getting divorced, the last thing that some people want to think about is getting back out there again and getting hurt again. So making sure that you're ready and that you do it right is vitally important to not having the same problems crop up again. So what is the first thing a divorced woman should do before dating again?
Well, let's agree that divorce is a very difficult time and it's a fragile time for people who are going through it and or finished with it and wanting to get back out there. And so it's about self-care. That's the main thing that I say to my clients. And self-care has 3 branches. You need to be aware that your emotions are the fuel for the kinds of experiences that you are bringing into your life around this breakup and around getting ready for the next phase in your life. So it's about managing those emotions through your self-care. And I want everybody to be aware that we have an emotional scale, and at the bottom is fear and anger and worry and all of those negative feelings that may come up because you've had this breakup. And at the top is joy and love and happiness. And to get ready to get back into the dating game, it's important to bring those emotions up as high as you can get them. And one of the ways to do that is to surround yourself with things that make you happy and that help you feel hopeful. For me, it's blonde Labrador puppy. Anytime I'm feeling down, all I have to do is see a bunch of those little critters tumbling and playing. They always seem to have a big smile on their faces. Immediately my mood is going up. And it's important to have it up because then you start to expand your awareness of possibilities. And instead of thinking in the doldrums about what is in the past, you start thinking about, okay, so that's over. What can I learn from it and how can I move forward? So that's the emotional part of
Yeah.
this. Yeah.
And it's so important for anything that you are going to attempt to do in life to have the right emotional state. I mean, if you're applying for a job, anything new coming into your life, you want to come at it from the right angle emotionally,
Exactly.
because otherwise, you know, you're going to give off that vibe and you're going to attract the wrong things. And we don't want that happening here. Why? I think this is a really important question. Why should a divorced mom delay her introduction of her dates to her children? I have a lot of feelings around this, and we've talked about this on other shows, but I'd like your take on that.
My take on it is that moms and children are kind of like a tribe. There has to be a leader. Mom is the leader. She's the breadwinner. She's the one who's keeping everybody safe. And no matter how old those children are, they are junior members in the tribe. And they tend to get confused if she brings around people that she's not serious about, because some of them have problems with sorting their own emotions around divorce. They may think it's their fault. And so we don't want to confuse them any farther than they are now. We want to keep it contained. So I would suggest that divorced moms only bring around the guy that they're engaged to, or they're really serious with, or who's going to be around a while. And not to give her kids veto power because they're junior members, number one. I'm really old school on that matter. And also, it's about her life and her happiness, and she knows best what's best for her. So it just reduces the confusion and the pain and all of that that goes into then moving into the next step of her life if she delays introducing the man to the children.
Especially when you're first getting your footing out there, you know, you may be giddy in love and it may fizzle out quickly. And if you've already introduced someone new to your children and then it doesn't work out, it can really have some impact on your children. So I agree with you. Make sure that it's something that is more serious, more long-term, maybe even, you know, leading to a new marriage. And then, you know, make the introduction in the proper way. Let the kids know what's coming. Don't just bring somebody home and say, oh, you know, I want you to meet my new partner or my fiance. You know, you've got,
Disaster.
yeah,
Yeah.
really. You know, I do agree with you on mom being the head of the tribe, but you also have to take deep consideration on what is this impact going to be on your children, and be very careful and cognizant of that. And if it's done right, it can be beautiful. So
Oh,
we
yeah.
want to make sure. And not only that, but, you know, there's a lot of predators out there who look for moms in situations and open up the door for them to get to your children. And we don't want that either. So you have to be really careful about all of these things. So what's the major difference between dating with technology and dating with a matchmaker for the divorced woman? And you know, again, I hope that some of these things can apply to men as well. You know, the men should do the same thing when they're introducing a new person to their children. I want to make sure that all of our folks who are listening to the show now or later feel included in this. But tell us about that, dating with technology versus dating with a matchmaker like yourself.
All right. Of course, these principles apply to men, and because they're people too, and they have to be careful. There are women predators as well as male predators, so no one has a corner on that market in terms of their gender. So it's about being aware of the signs. And as far as the difference between dating with a dating coach and with a matchmaker, when a person has been off the market, we say in my industry, there's been a lot of changes. If it's been 2 years, 20 years, most of the women that I see have been off of dating. They've been married for, 15, 20 years. So things have changed a lot. So they need a dating coach to help them get acclimated to today's standards of dating and to the ways to use technology in a wise way. They need a profile. They need to have pictures. First of all, they need to be clear on what makes a man or a woman amazing to them. And there needs to be a self-reflection so that they learn the lessons that were being taught through that past relationship. And if they were hard, painful lessons, those are the lessons that are juicy and they don't want to repeat. So it's about being aware of them and having techniques or practices to avoid them. They're kind of like potholes. You want to step around them. Why keep repeating things if you can avoid them? So a dating coach is very, very helpful at doing that, at using technology with skill, and also at shortening the learning curve about predators and criminals, because, online dating has been around since the 60s. And you can do the math on that one. So people are opportunists, criminals are opportunists, and they see this as a field for operating and getting quick money or what have you. There have been so many stories about women who have lost their IRAs or whatever it is that they've been saving because of some slick criminal who talked them out of their money. And so it's important to be aware that you never give money to anybody you haven't known for a long time. And you have to certainly be able to see them before you even think about helping them out. Usually it's some story about a family member who has a medical issue that's very expensive and they're asking for help. Well, that's a red flag.
Right.
The second thing is you've never met the person. You've never actually seen them. You've only heard them maybe on the phone, but you've never met them in person. So you can look into their eyes and feel their energy and see if this is a good person or no. That's a second red flag. And then the third red flag for me, because as I mentioned before, I'm very old school, women do not give money to men. That is not our job. We are not here to support men, especially strange men that we don't know. So people need to be aware of that. It breaks my heart to hear some of the horror stories and these stories that could be avoided if people only knew. So we have to increase our knowledge before we go into dating with technology.
Well, I just have to say here, as a person who's worked in the field of divorce for 15 years, I've seen it work both ways as well. Men with a broken heart can also be taken by a woman with obviously not the best of intents. So it works both ways.
It does.
And, you really have to be secure in yourself. And I just saw a story 2020 did the other day on a woman who was involved with a man personally, met him at church, I believe it was, and he was a Boy Scout leader. And, he was not for what he appeared to be. He eventually killed her and her mother. We don't want to scare everyone, but we do want you to be aware that, this is something you should take slowly. When your heart has been broken, especially as you said, for those who've been married a very long time, and now you're getting back out into the world in your 50s or your 60s, it's a different world out there. And you just have to really be careful and take things slowly. You just want to make sure that your heart and your wallet are not going to be broken from all of this. And, I think I've said enough about it, but it does something that is very cognizant to me from the things that I have seen and experienced as a certified divorce financial analyst. So I don't want to scare everyone away. We're trying to talk about the good stuff here, but we want to keep you safe, folks. So how can divorced women be successful in a relationship the second time around? And I'm going to assume that part of that is learning what went wrong the first time. So, really to
Excuse me.
what caused the divorce, what was their part in it, but beyond that, how can they be successful the next time around?
Well, the success the next time around has to do with having a target. There's an old African proverb where it says you have to have a target before you can aim for it. So basically, the idea is, what is your target when you go out to date? Is it marriage? Is it a wonderful friend? What is it that you have in mind? And then what I do is back it up from there. If you want marriage and your amazing man has certain qualities and values that you share, because I help you find out what they are clearly, then that's where we go looking. It's kind of like the concept of, if you're looking for rolls, you go to the roll store. You don't go to the Kia store and expect to find the rolls. It's not happening. So there are certain dating apps where the guys who would be amazing, according to the woman's definition, and that's where we go. And as a matchmaker, I'm vetting every date, every introduction that a woman goes on. So she doesn't have to worry about catfish or predators or criminals, because I'm vetting them. I'm checking out their backgrounds. So when she goes on a date, I've done all the heavy lifting, and all she has to do is enjoy the date and decide if she wants a second one.
So do you actually do background checks? Tell us more about that, Patricia.
Well, I do background checks, and
you're able to do that as a matchmaker?
People I am, and she can do that, but I have ability to do it with thoroughness, and I have the time. That's my job. So if she doesn't want to deal with all of that, then that's where a matchmaker comes in. A matchmaker vets, and so she knows who she's going out with if I introduce her to someone.
That's very interesting. I think that takes a lot of fear out of things, because of what we talked about earlier, people not being who or what they appear to be. So I see incredible value in that, folks. So what type of woman or man, or what kind of person would benefit most from working with a matchmaker? Is there a certain age? Is there a certain length of marriage? What do you find is most beneficial, and who are the people that come to you the most?
The people who come to me are generally mature people. They're over 35. They're financially stable. They are very involved with their career, their families, their social life. They don't want to swipe right, swipe left. They do not care to spend their precious time looking online for somebody to go out with. They have tried it, perhaps, and found it lacking. And they're at the point where they're looking at their life, their time, and they're saying to themselves, who can I hire to take care of this? Because they have the ability to say, I can delegate this. I don't have to do this.
Interesting.
And that's where I come in, because if they delegate it to them extensively, make sure I know what their values are, what their personality is. And I am looking for people who match them. That's the whole process of matching. And it depends on if people want local
Mm.
searches, national searches, international searches.
Oh, interesting. Wow.
As yes, as I'm connected with those three matchmaking organizations, those are networks that cover the globe. And so basically, it's about calling up Susie in London and saying, I have somebody who wants someone who's 5'10", dark hair in this profession. Who do you have? And so that makes it so much easier for clients who are busy, too busy to date traditionally.
And so how does the international work? I mean, even nationally and locally, we get it, but you find somebody in Montana. So it starts off with the phone or Zoom and then meetings, but then we've got logistics with people with lives in different parts of the country. Do you find that those matches are successful?
It depends on the people who are being matched. That's why we have the extensive interviews to find out if they are willing to travel to meet somebody. And if they are, it's a matter of coordinating schedules. So, it's just an expansion of distance.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. What is there any statistic on how many successful relationships or marriages come out of matchmaking? I'm just curious if you have that kind of information.
Well, it just depends on the matchmaker. I'm at 90%
Wow.
success.
Congratulations for you and
Thank
your
you.
clients.
Yes.
And they stay in these long-term relationships or marriages. They're successful. They're not back at you seeing you in a few years, I hope. For another
it's about being sure that there are glue points, as I call them, in the relationship. And the glue points, personality and values. Those are the glue points. I've been married for 50 years.
Wow,
And
congratulations.
thank you. And so I know that those are the glue points. I was a part of a project at one time where we looked at long-term marriages and relationships, same thing. They had to have personalities that were similar. They had to have values that were similar. And that is what keeps them together through the thick and the thin of it. If we look at some of our more celebrated couples, Oprah and Stedman, those people have been engaged for 30 years, but so it's a long-term relationship.
Mhm.
I love that example because they decided they didn't want to get married. He wanted traditional wife. That wasn't going to work for Oprah. It's obvious, but they liked each other so much. They both have successful careers and they love helping people. And so they worked it out so that they can do what it is that makes them happy as well as be together. You can look at Barack Obama and Michelle Obama. Same idea, power couples, each with their own separate life and interest, but they've combined the forces to around helping people. Him on a national level, right? Oprah is international. And you could go Hillary and Bill Clinton. Same thing. She has her career in law. He has his career, and they combine forces. So it's possible in a partnership to stay together through thick and thin when you have somebody who respects what you do and understands where you're coming from and cares about you. And that is the example that these particular people, just as an example, show us. And in my own relationship, that's the reason I've been together with this wonderful man for 50 years. So it's possible to talk about that and get people clear on it. So when they're dating, they're looking for those qualities. And another reason, as you've mentioned, you don't just jump into a relationship right away. You have to take your time, see the person under different situations, so you'll know what kind of qualities they have, and if you want to live with them over the long term.
Now, what about women who have been stay-at-home moms? They gave their career up, or they didn't have a career, and their focus was raising their children. We have lots of women in that particular situation, and now they're getting divorced in their 50s and 60s. Listen, most of my cases are gray divorce, what we call gray divorce in the industry. Those are people 50 and older getting divorced, and it's a very common situation now. In fact, it's the largest group of people, segment of the population getting divorced, according to a study through the Bowling Green University. So, when you have a situation like that, are you getting women in that mode as well? They want to get back out there as well, but they're not career women.
I have very few women who come to me who are not career women, who are not professional. So I really can't speak to that. But from my heart, I know these women need to find what is most valuable to them, what is their priority in life. And as a result of that, let that be their North Star, let that drive them to, if they want to get back into dating, they need to find a man who would respect that, and they can partner with and continue in a thriving relationship for them. It's all about each person knowing what is most important to me and who is going to respect that and understand me, and who was going to care about me and support me and becoming the best person I can be. And then y'all can work it out, all the particulars, and move together down the road of life. So that is my philosophy, and it's worked for over 500 women and myself.
I love it. Well, Patricia, it has been just a pleasure talking with you about this today. Thank you for being a guest on the show. How can folks get in contact with you?
Well, I have a thing called Linktree / my name, Patricia Fuqua, Linktree / Patricia Fuqua. It has all the information on there. And I would love to talk to anybody who this talk has resonated with. I'm offering 30 minutes to see how I can take my signature dating system or talk to them about matchmaking and help them solve their biggest love situation.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again, and we appreciate that. And I hope that folks will reach out to you for more information. And before we go here, we're going to share some resources that we have available for anyone who needs some divorce information. If you are headed to Divorcetown, you're going through Divorcetown, you can go to divorcetownusa.com and download the Divorcetown USA roadmap there. You see it here. It includes an ebook that explains your different options and helps you understand what might be best for you and your family, and outlines other professionals and or resources you may need along the way. We also have free articles, videos, and other free resources to help you have a smarter, saner, savvier divorce. At the Divorcetown Marketplace, at Divorcetown USA, we have designed this to bring you some of the best books, products, and resources that we've found through the years to help you on your divorce so you can thrive long after. And it's also about a smart start, folks. We want to make sure you get that, and then the long after comes after it, right? This features the various sections you see here. The Marketplace has something for everyone. We really strive to cover this pre, mid, and post-divorce, including the book we discussed today. Well, that's Patricia, tell us the name of your book, because we didn't get the name of that. Could you tell us the name of your book?
Yes, Second Time Around, The Right Man Blueprint.
I love that. Okay. So we'll be putting that up on the Divorce Town marketplace for you as well. We also sponsor a virtual divorce help and hope support group through meetup.com, which meets once or twice a month through Zoom, and meeting dates and times are always posted in the events section at Divorce Town USA. Now at Divorce Money Matters, you can download your free divorce financial fitness kit that I created to help you get better organized and take control of your money matters during your divorce. This kit includes an ebook, a working Excel spreadsheet of all the documents you'll need to gather, and a list of 50 must-ask questions when you're ready to meet with a family law attorney. And so next week, we're going to be talking about love and forgiving yourself before letting love in again. And this is our special guest next week is going to be Cheryl Woodhouse. She is a licensed marriage, family therapist, and divorce coach. And so we'll see you next week for this another great show with great topics, good information to help you start smart as you go through divorce. So we hope you have found this week's episode of the Divorce Do's and Don'ts show helpful. And we look forward to seeing you next week and every week as we continue to improve the way the world divorces one family at a time.